Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Before I begin, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Mr. Kong here, former Maths HOD in one of the Singapore schools. As a teacher, I found out that there are many P5 and P6 students find maths work problems difficult to do. So today I want to share with you as parents how to help your child in this area. Also, we'll share with you some simple solutions that are probably able to help your child in overcoming maths work problems. Now, I will share with you some of the reasons for students or pupils not able to do P5, P6 maths work problems. Why they find maths work problems not easy? First, when they read, they still don't know what the question wants. So this simply means a few things. You may want to consider is that their comprehension skills in understanding the question is not very good. That's why they don't understand the question. Or is it because the work problems involves fraction or percentage in topics which they are not very strong in the first place. So when they read, they find it very confusing and do not know how to interpret those fractions and percentage in the question and therefore not able to solve. Or is it because the work problem is a bit too long, too much information to process, where to start, how to start, and don't know exactly which topic the question is also testing. If it involves percentage, fraction, ratio, and they are not really strong in the topic, so exactly how to tackle the question, they also find it a bit difficult. Next, even though they can overcome the first part, which means they understand the question, and now they want to know what strategy to use. They may have learned many strategies, but not sure which strategy to use, then how can they able to do the work problem, and how as parent we can help with the child in overcoming this issue. And also some of the students wanted to try to use one particular strategy which they think is possible, but it's not successful. Then after that, what do? Do they give up, or do they continue to find other strategies which they have learned before? So these are the few key points that the problems comes in when the students do not know how to solve the question. Having said all this, then what is next? Anxiety coming into them. They are very anxious because first, they don't understand the question. Second, they do not know how to solve it because they have used a particular strategy and can't solve. So these are the two main things that will create a kind of anxiety in them. That will add up and eventually become very stressful for them to tackle the questions. Therefore, they're not able to solve work problems. Next, if they know what they don't know, the second point, fractions and area. How can, as a parent, help them with all this area to improve their competency level in those topics? And what is worse than this is they don't know what they don't know, which means they do not know what is the area they are not even competent at. How? As a parent, how do we help them? With all this added up, eventually some of the children will not able to sleep well or not able to sleep at all the day before the maths paper or a major exam. As parent, how can we elevate all this stress level for the children so that they can actually tackle the work problems the next day or the daily schoolwork that they have problems with? As mentioned before, what happens if they cannot understand the work problem? As a teacher, when I was teaching in school, I want them to actually read one sentence at a time and do not read the whole thing, because when you're reading the whole thing, it's like looking at a whole piece of cake and try to swallow the whole piece of cake in one mouth, which is not possible, and even get choked. So what I suggest is you read one sentence at a time and digest first before moving on to the next sentence, making sure you understand or make sense to the first sentence you have read before moving on to the next. Then after you have read the first sentence, you go on to the next sentence, you try to see connections between the two sentences, because if you see the connection between two sentences, you'll be able to see more information and also to see the relationship, and with that relationship, you can actually add extra information from the two sentences, which with this extra information may award the child the extra method marks if they cannot complete or cannot solve the whole problems. First of all, we try not to let the child read everything as a whole. We try to make them read one sentence at a time, and after that digest first sentence, then you digest the second sentence, and you digest the third sentence, and in between doing that, you can actually find a connection if possible for the child to solve an extra information from there. After they have made connections with the sentences, they also have information that is related to the topics they have learned. Like example, fraction, percentage, ratio, and speed. So in reading the question, they roughly know what topic they are testing. But sometimes word problems can involve fractions and percentage together. Then how can we tackle the question? Ask your child to see whether are they comfortable with percentage, or are they comfortable with fractions, or even comfortable with ratio. If a question involves so many topics in one question, tell them, convert all the topics they are comfortable with. For example, if they are comfortable with fractions, convert percentage to fraction, and convert percentage to ratio, or convert fraction to ratio. Ensure that particular topic they are comfortable with is a question they can work on, or the topic they can work on. So that is one way to help your child in solving word problems. Then after you have understood the question, what strategy to use? Okay, what you can do is ask your child which strategy you are pretty weak in. Is it model drawing? Is it guess and check? Or is it certain strategies and heuristics you are not very comfortable with or not very strong in? So with that, you can actually tell a child practice on those strategies, or get somebody to help them to actually show them the steps and the rationale behind the steps. And that's important. The reason behind each step, why are they doing that way? With that, the child can actually understand and able to apply them when it comes to questions they are not familiar with. That is an important aspect that many children are not very strong at. Next, topical content. Don't even know what skills is required, what content is required in the particular topic. What more can we talk about when we want to use a strategy? So what is important is they need to be very familiar with the topics or the skills in the topics, or the content of the topics. Like example, 8-point compass, percentage that is involving GST, area and perimeter, etc. Spatial visualization. Spatial visualization is talking about area and perimeter and volume, whereby they need to actually visualize it in a 2D diagram, whereby they will need to visualize in the 2D mode to a 3D concept, which is a bit difficult for some students, but with practice, the students are more familiar how to tackle those questions because certain steps have been learnt through the daily work that they have been doing. So this is some of the ways to help if they do not know what strategy to use. With those being said, now we come to the next part. Emotional stress, which is the anxiety. When the students are not very competent in the skills, in the topics, and the strategies they need to use for P5, P6 word problems, there will added stress on them, and after that become anxious. Because of anxiety, they will reduce the efficiency and the effectiveness in solving word problems. So what we need to do is we need to pinpoint exactly which area they are weak in first. We do baby steps. Example, start with topical skills in your child which is weak in. Start small with them, exactly which skill they are weak in, and if as parent you're not sure, you can actually take out a textbook or a Maxwell book and let them try a few questions from level 1, the basic computation of numbers, fractions, everything, to level 2, simple word problems, to level 3, longer word problems, and find out exactly what area they are weak in, and after that teach them accordingly. If you need professional help, maybe engage a tutor to help them, to teach them the particular topics or teach them particular skills. Then the next thing, start small with approachable strategies for them. They are familiar with those strategies, but they are not competent in it. Let them do it, and after that, get somebody to guide them to do step by step on those strategies. Because every strategist, there are few standard steps that they can solve. As for me, I will always use those standard steps to teach them how to solve the word problems. And try to get a hang of it in a very conducive and a very nice environment without stress environment so that they can actually be competent. And once they're competent, the next point, praise. You need to praise them so that they can get more confidence and boost their confidence in their area. If as parent you praise and a child don't really appreciate, that doesn't really appreciate, get somebody. Call the teachers about your concern, the teachers to encourage the child and even praise the child even with some baby steps they have made improvement in. In that way, it will boost their confidence. I've seen many students, after I praise them, just little praises here and there and encouragement, they feel more confident, and that is important. The confidence level will increase, then they will be able to take up more challenging word problems. The next point, encourage to show more working in papers. I understand when it comes to word problems, a lot of students got stuck. They don't know what the question wants, they don't understand the questions. As I already explained, read one sentence at a time, add extra information. Adding extra small little information between the two sentences to see connection, they can actually write down those points And with that, they can actually get some method marks, even though they couldn't get the answer. So imagine, every word problems can get 1 or 2 method marks. There are 17 word problems involving, and you can imagine they can get an extra 20 over marks, or even 30 marks from getting the extra correct steps. I mean the correct steps, not those steps which they got it wrong. Anxiety. I know many students, when they come to maths paper, especially paper 2, is a long duration, 1 hour 30 minutes. They will be very nervous. What I always tell my students, take deep breaths, hold the breath, inhale the oxygen into your lungs, hold it for 3 to 5 seconds and breathe out through your mouth slowly. Then it will help them to calm one's mind. And with that, they can think better. If you want to let them to think better, it is not just taking deep breaths during the exams, can also encourage them to eat some brain fruits to boost their mental capability and improve their moods. Example, some of the brain foods are fatty fish that has a lot of omega-3, can actually help them to boost their mental capability. Walnuts and blueberries. Blueberries especially can actually reduce and make their mood become better. So this is something that we encourage the children to take not on the daily basis, of course, it's on a regular basis, but don't wait until 1 or 2 weeks before exams, then you let them take the food. It's also on a regular basis. The last thing, if you want to elevate their stress, and stress are because they even don't know what they don't know, use a full paper to assess which area or what area they are weak in. And then as a parent, zoom in to those areas they are weak in to recap and teach them. If you are not able to help them, especially P5, P6, because there are certain skills they are not very competent with, engage a tutor or even tell the teachers in school to help. But I understand the teachers in schools are always very busy and they need to cater to all the 40 students in the class. And how can we help? Maybe you can ask somebody who is competent in this area to help them in those areas they are weak in. The last thing, too many word problems in paper 2. This is the main concern many children will have at P5, P6. Because of the schools having no mid-year exams, there is no proper training in sitting down to do the paper in 1 hour 30 minutes. I normally would tell the children as a tutor to do the paper, just paper 2, 1 hour 30 minutes, sit down and focus, see how to pace when they are doing the word problems or the paper, so that they will know in 1 hour 30 minutes they need to complete paper 2. Too many word problems in paper 2. Due to the fact that school now have actually moved away SA1, which is the mid-year exam, to have a small bite-sized weighted assessment for the students to do, there is a minimum chance for the child to actually sit down in the class or at home to do paper 2 for 1 hour 30 minutes. And it comprises 17 word problems. And you understand that PSLE actually have all the papers being done in the morning. So as a parent, what I can suggest, you can actually ask your child to paper at home in the morning, preferably in the morning, and let them sit for 1 hour 30 minutes with no disturbances so that they can actually pace themselves when doing the papers. After each paper, we will not need to worry about the marking, the marks, how many questions they get it right or wrong. I just want them to pace themselves to see how fast and how slow they need to do the word problem so that they can actually complete 1 hour 30 minutes. After each paper, adjust the pacing. Don't worry about the marks, just focus on the pace. Few more time to prepare your child in this area. The child is also condition their brains into doing the word problems and be able to focus for 1 hour 30 minutes. And after that, you move on to looking at their careless mistakes and also mark their papers. That is a later part when they are able to solve the questions in 1 hour 30 minutes. Then you want to have a slight peer competition. Maybe encourage him to actually get his friends, some of the friends together to do the paper in a conducive environment, so that they can actually sit down there and focus and do it, to actually have feeling that, oh, their friends are also doing the paper too. So in this way, they can actually help to do what I call a peer pressure to let them focus better. Knowing their friends are doing the same thing as them, they feel more encouraged and they want to do with them. Alright, I hope these are the ways that you may consider for your child when doing P5, P6 word problems in paper 2. If you want to find helping them in this area as well, you can actually visit this website, isucceed.sg, to find out more how to actually help your child in this, because as a tutor myself, I understand it is not easy as a parent, because I also have a child who has already gone through that stage, to help them in this area and encourage them. Most importantly is to praise them and elevate their anxiety in doing the work problems. Thanks for listening, and encourage your child, and your child will benefit from this few points I will just make. Thank you.